You're listening to the Out of the Box podcast with Timmy, Halisa, and Sinosure.
Hello, welcome back to Out of the Box. I hope you guys have missed us. So yeah, this is 2024. I'm still Halisa, and we have Timmy and Sinosure. So today we just want to talk about everything Nigeria so far, right? It's the new year, sort of. Lots of things have happened. So we just want to talk about bits and pieces of things that have happened this year. Of course, it's like, a few things that kind of happened last year and is just continuing into this year. Anyways, let's just hear from every other person and then we'll get into it. Timmy, how are you? How have you been? So hi everyone.
I don't know if I can say I'm good, or I don't know if there's any other thing I can say. Maybe I'm Nigerian. I'm Nigerian good.
Fair, that's fair.
Yeah, a whole lot is just going on. Yeah, but I'm good basically. Sinosure, how you doing?
I feel victorious, but I still know there's still a lot of battle at the front. Okay, welcome also to the maiden edition of the podcast for this year. A lot of people will say, where have these guys been? I say, we've been working to make all of this even more robust, and then the conversation more relatable. And then also in terms of what has happened so far in this country, so far this year, I have seen a lot. I have seen the unraveling of a lot of things. I have come to find out that some people are getting paid to promote a certain candidate. I've also gotten to know that Abatwigwe is a good man. He has done a lot of wonderful things for a lot of people, and I pray his soul rest in peace. I've also come to note quite a lot really, about about why some certain set of people act the way they act, what informs in the sense of motivates what they do. I mean, there's a lot really to unpack today. But seriously, I also learned that most Nigerians are just getting to know about IBD Dende. I was completely, if there's any word like flabberwhelmed.
Like myself, I never knew who that guy was. I never knew him, right? Never knew him.
For the large majority of the last 20 years, right? A lot of people will tell you they know him. And the notoriety has always been there, right? But thankfully, we have people like Fisayo, who hopefully we are going to be able to get on this podcast one of these days when he's got the time to fix us on his schedule. But in the
but the truth of the matter, Sinosure, is why exactly do we even want to know him? Because I just feel like in this Nigeria, there's a whole lot that, as much as I am politically active and everything, right? There's a lot of people that, our brain has unlimited memory and unlimited capacity, but they are of no, even some governors, even some ex-leaders in Nigeria, presidents, vice presidents, they are literally of no relevance. Even knowing them is not even, it's not going to help, So I just think that, the individual, I think a few days ago before his whole matter was out there, yeah.
I'm butting in, sorry. Very importantly, if you lived in Ota, you will know all of them. Iyana, Yesi, Ota, close to Ota in Ogun State, you will know most of these guys. Especially if you do business, right? And you have reasons to relate with people, or by the roadside or what have you. You will know these guys. You know why? Because a lot of people have fell victim, or let me say have fallen victim to the menace, which is smuggling along those axes, when the customs are chasing people down and what have you, and people will start telling you like, these are the people of this person, these are the people of that person. So you now have to find out, and you now start also hearing their names in songs. You get? So literally, they are the socialites that actually pervades that space in Ogun State and some part of Lagos State. So when I say, a lot of people know them, right? But because the Nigerian state has not had any reason to turn against some of these smugglers, right? People think it's a normal thing to do, and that is why I actually, for one thing, when you fail to address an anomaly, it begs another cycle of anomaly. Like if somebody does something bad, and you are not going against them with the full word of the law, what you are doing literally is to incentivize other people who might want to do the same. So if you go to Ilaro today,
Okay. I said let's introduce
Sino Show
ourselves,
is obsessed with this guy.
and
Do you have any
yeah,
personal connection
let's
to him,
begin.
Sino Show?
Let's begin to speak on some serious topics here, and it's like you just went straight to it with the assumption that everyone knows what's going on, but you need to know not everyone is interested in politics. It's still fancy for people not to be interested in politics. But I even posted something recently when I was like, interested or disinterested or uninterested in politics. Politics is very much interested in you. 100% interested in you. So let me just give a bit of a rundown, for people that probably do not know what we are talking about, So I think several things have happened. It's Nigeria, back to back, Glasgows and everything. But basically, like Sinosha has mentioned some important things that have happened this year. And one of those is like an expose about custom and smuggling, customs being involved in smuggling, even when the Nigerian state says that they have banned some kind of items. But, they said that once you have good connection or proper connection with some people in custom, you'll be able to smuggle any sort of item into Nigeria. So that's one major news. And a name that was mentioned here is one of the reporters that actually brought that story to the fore to actually corroborate a video that was going viral online. So maybe some people came across the video or not. But basically the story is that while Nigerians are buying rice for 80K, there's so much corruption behind that, so much corruption behind your survival, behind your struggle, and the custom is heavily invested in that. That's one story. And probably another thing that has happened, I just want to lay them out there, a few of them, and when we are going, I'm sure a lot of things would also come up. There was also the Binance case. That one also happened this year. And one other thing that was mentioned earlier was also the case of, should I say, influencers in politics, the role of influencers in politics, people getting paid to, should I say, distort opinions or to create perceptions, create narratives. And those narratives become so big that they influence the choices, the political sphere and, the political space in general. So, there's just been a lot of things, and I hope I did not confuse, bring too much of context into this, but I want us to just take that before we think we're talking to our normal, all of our normal fadi gisting friends. And it's just I just want to say, okay, everybody can grasp what we are trying to talk about. So let's get back into the conversation. I cut you off. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead, please.
A whole lot, really. And us talking about 2024, the story so far has been so people usually say Nigeria should be an episode on Netflix or a series on Netflix, and I'm sure that would have unlimited episodes, and a whole lot has happened. So like you said, Sinosha touched on one of them, and you talked about influencers, this whole thing of people influencing, which is not a new thing, because a lot of people already know that these people are influencing people's opinions, but I think that has been one of the major conversations, that has taken over the whole internet space, about influencers getting paid to promote candidates, and influence people's decisions, to bring them on spaces, to tweet about them and everything. And getting paid even up to 500,000 naira, some even up to millions. And I think it's not just from one a political party that has been called out, for this particular act. I think the LP guys were called out. But before that, Fisayo, who Sinosha touched on before, also put out an investigative report of over 250 people that were on payroll, to try and clear up a corrupt politician's name, right? So, getting paid, for political opinions, I think we must state it clearly, it's not a crime. It's not a crime, right? It's not a crime. And this is what some people actually do. But I think it's just dicey because, people need to know if you're getting paid. So because on the internet space, one of the most popular words last year was gaslighting. When someone will come and tell you, oh, Nigeria is the best country in the world, but the person doesn't even live in Nigeria. The person doesn't want to have anything to do in Nigeria. And most times when we're having these conversations, we usually call out, those people that what are you saying? These are the things, these are the situation of things in the country, police brutality, health sector problems, and so on and so forth. And someone will come and tell you, just because they are getting paid, to actually, influence political opinions. When you tell people that, oh, some of these leaders have been in office before and for 8 years, they literally did nothing to transform their state or the country or whatever it is. And someone will come and gaslight you and tell you, that's not what it is. And you will be confused if that's what they really feel, or it's just because they are getting paid, to influence people's opinions. So it was a really, really dicey situation. And I wonder what you guys, really think about this whole influencer thing and people getting paid, for political opinions.
I literally have issues. Yeah, you know where I stand on this matter. I think there is a lot of complications around the idea of using the mob feature. When I say mob feature, I mean the crowding out effect of social media to elevate views about politics that drives people towards a particular candidate. Especially when you look at our kind of terrain, where our people are vulnerable, maybe due to the fact that the information they get most of the time are controlled, largely controlled, and then they don't even have facts to counterbalance what they are getting on social media. So generally, I just think it's a very absurd thing to do, right? It's if you say it's not bad, I would say it's very dicey somewhere along the line. You can't just say good or bad. There's something particularly wrong about that idea. So in general, I think maybe we should be working towards a system whereby candidates would have access to the same kind of media, tell us their plans, and then people can, in the same breath, gauge out what they want to gauge out, choose who they want to choose, and go for those kind of candidates. But in a situation whereby you have people with large war chests, they will just buy the influencers on social media, and then they will drive home point that doesn't even exist. Like some of the candidates in the last election, on my timeline, right? I was talking to somebody about my account, and the person was telling me like we were mass reported. Those of us who hold some kind of views, we were mass reported. So one way or the other, Twitter limits how our reach can go. So in the real sense of the matter, ladies and gentlemen, right? If you have enough watchers to sponsor boats, to sponsor people who are going to start reporting other people or your opposition's account, you are literally not being fair, really, in the context of actually emerging in political office in your country. It sounds more like manipulative to me than any other thing. So, in the grand scheme of things, I think there's a problem with that. And also, there is the issue of Binance, right? I think every opportunity that Nigeria has, right, it seems like our people are not consulting enough, especially the people in government. I think, for one, we made a mistake in 2021 January, and I think we have repeated it again. Because at the end of the day, if you say 26 billion USD passed through Binance, for me, if I'm thinking about that as a person who is running a country where we have issues with revenue, I'm thinking about, okay, how can we make money of this? When you now look at it on the other end as well, you will think, oh, they have a point. Oh, this thing is affecting exchange rate. I have still yet to wrap my head around why it's affecting exchange rate. Because when you look at it very clearly, if you devalue for any reason, right, like we are seeing, or let's say you float for any reason, I would expect that you are floating because you have some certain information. And if you think Binance is part of the problem, I would think you would have visited Binance as a problem and addressed it first before you even started floating the currency and hiking interest rate to attract additional dollar inflow. So there's a lot of things to address. It just seems like we are a people like the Israelites, and I actually am using the Israelite analogously here, uh, like the Israelites that are merry-go-rounding while they should be going forward. We just keep merry-go-rounding with the hope that one of these days, while we are merry-go-rounding, we'll find the exact spot where there is good tiding, where there are good things for the Nigerian nation. It's just very complicated, and I try as much as possible to think of this country when I have the time to. And what I find almost all the time when I think about this country is that the people in government do not want this country to thrive. So if there are opportunities for us with Binance, It seems like we've lost it. If there are also things that we could probably do in the future, right, to manage some potential risk, it seems like we are losing leverage. When I say leverage, I mean it in the sense of things that we ordinarily can hold for our position to be solid in within a context of maybe negotiating with all these guys or what have you. People are now using, of course, Binance has disabled the NGN feature, NGN USD. But the point still remains that Nigerians are holding USDT on Binance as we speak. So the point is, they want to bring this money back home to do any item. Maybe they want to buy or sell something now. They are now having to do those things on Telegram. Now the conversation is now like, who charges who at what rate? You won't know because already it was in a black market before. It's now in a black market. When I say black, I think it's to actually emphasize the fact that it's much deeper and it's more opaque. The opacity is elevated now compared to where it was before. And I have this thing very important that I would also like to mention. A lot of Nigerians also think whenever we talk about money supply increasing, that the money we are talking about is the naira that they are holding in their hand. Or whenever they say they print naira, it's beyond that. Whenever they also say they print naira, a lot of Nigerians think, oh, the creation of new currency is what it means that they print naira. No. Unfortunately for us here, we are here to educate, guide, and then, of course, take contribution from the public so that our conversations can continue to remain robust. Please, if you are not an expert in the conversation, contact somebody who has got a clue about what they're saying. And then at the end of the day, we won't have a lot of misinformation going all around. That the print money is a different conversation from you see new notes in the economy. New note in the economy would exist if they print money or not.
Yeah, I think that I mean for the Binance thing, for the Binance thing, I just think that we need to understand maybe should I say where it's complicated because I can't go into the nitty gritty of like the figures or things like that. I can only say that, like you said, we are moving to a black market, because there's nothing that's going to be existing in the global system, that this system of global capital, and Nigeria will just be removed from it, in the sense of Nigeria is in a stage of development where it's like we are running 5G, but we are also running 1G at the back or at the side too. So I don't know. For me, I don't really know if I have much to say about that. I just think that there's no policy consistency, or should I say coherency, and we've spoken about that before, because it's like everything kind of seems like impulsive. It's like these decisions, they're like, oh, they're trying to make these decisions, but they didn't make it on time, and now they just have to make it quickly, because it's like they need to do some kind of things. They need to, increase some rates, some interest rate. They need some money, quick money in the system for something, and then they'll make a policy or they'll do something. And it's just, it feels so short term, focused for me, that for me, I don't really have much to say or know much to say, so I'll listen on very much more on that. But I wanted to take us a little bit back on the conversation of like influencers influencing the political space, or something like that. When I first, this particular story, right, is the should I say, if giving more context, it would be like 500,000 naira. I don't know if I should say alleged here now, because it's like confirmed from the horse's mouth, but it was paid to influence for some people. There's this media, which, in case any people don't know, it's on Twitter. You can actually come on there and have conversations, and people can go long term or whatever. So some people were paid, right, to influence. And when I saw the story at first, I was like, okay, 500,000 naira was paid. I don't think I took it as serious, because I just felt like maybe that's not a lot of money, in the sense of the people that are collecting big checks. Nobody's checking them. Who is checking those people? It's just like, I understand that, yes, there should be fire on all sides, but for me, it just felt like maybe those people should have established themselves well, and they should have been honest from the jump that, okay, I'm running some marketing, and maybe that's why sometimes you're obligated to say this is an ad. Or this is a promotion, or this is a sponsored space, something like that. Maybe that would have helped a little bit more. But it's just unfortunate that people that would take maybe 500k, 150k, they would get more smoke than people that took billions. People that after reporting the spendings for campaign for some political parties, you see that there's nothing there really makes sense. So for me, I just feel like, okay, there was actually some exposés on some people that they say they got some properties from influencing for some of these politicians. So those ones too, I don't think they got as much smoke as they should get, as compared to people that maybe took 500,000 naira. So that was just my a bit of like my own issue. But at the end of the day, it's just like, okay, we all knew this before. Should we act too surprised about it? Should we like act too surprised? Because it seemed like people were acting really, really shocked. So for me, it wasn't really a shock. There wasn't that shock factor.
Yeah, so like you're actually making a great point, because like we're talking about people that took 500k when we know that people got billions. Like one thing that, and I always say it, right, is that as controversial as it might sound, right, and I doubt it's really controversial because it's just the truth. People who left this country for because the country apparently to them was not the most suitable for them, right? They left because of harsh conditions. You still see them online supporting, not just like ignorantly, like with a lot of passion, supporting the same people, like I always say, that made them leave the country in the first place. And because if it's like a Nigerian and or a Nigerian living in Nigeria, and maybe you're doing it for, maybe you need money for data or 20k or 100k, something, we've always been unfair to a particular class in Nigeria, and those are the poor people. And this election has exposed us, because every time when we talk about people that sell their, okay, when you talk about people that sell their votes, what class of people comes to your mind? You always hear those market women, those bus riders, and they're the ones that are selling their votes. But this election, where we had a lot of people vocal about the election, exposed a lot of people, exposed that it is not that class. Our problem necessarily is not those people, on the streets, or it's not those people that are on the bus stops or in villages that are selling their votes. We have a huger problem with even those that are educated and those that are exposed. I just wanted to collaborate what you were saying, and say that these people, people that took billions, he would have got paid, because I don't know if you remember, there was this particular guy on social media. He's now hated, by a lot of people, especially change seekers in Nigeria. I think from both ends, But the guy is one of those people that we saw a budget that he gave. We saw something, a leaked document, a budget where he gave that budget, I think it was to APC in 2015 or so, to help manage the narrative, to help, tame the narrative and whatever it is. And it was in millions of dollars, if I'm correct, but a lot of money, was a whole lot of money. So all these ones collecting 500k, even we know a lot of people get paid, more to do this thing. And I think we need to, like I said before, it's not just maybe, one group of people. What about those people who it was reported that they were taking money to maintain the narrative for a politician who had been seen to be corrupt or something like that, So there was a report about that. Fisayo, so is it Soyumbo or something? He did a report about that. So what are we talking about? These guys that getting money. And why I brought up that diaspora thing is to say, because I always used to wonder, like, this guy is in the diaspora. Why are you, why will you be getting paid to, at least, you still have those basics, so there's a lot of money. You find out that some of these people, I know one particular guy that during the election, he was hosting spaces for some of these politicians that I'll term as the kind of people we should not be voting for. You wonder, a guy like this, and you will see that they were paid to do PR, and they were paid to package. So even though and one thing is that they will come pick some people that, because I need to say this, right? if you observe because we're coming from a space, and you were trying to explain before that there's this thing called Twitter and Twitter Spaces, which is where majority of the Nigerian political conversations, I mean, from the people, not on radio and on TV, go on. A lot of conversations go on there,
And
right?
nowadays,
And
is
you will see some.
the thing is nowadays the whole Twitter conversation is what Arise News focus on, and that's why we cannot just like say, oh, this is some niche thing where it's like only a few people do it. Twitter, there's this proper digital footprint, like political like footprint that's created on Twitter, and I think they want to now add to it. There's like, okay, what kind of conversation is going to boost our presence on the internet? So Arise News would now double down on conversations that are going on Twitter. So this is not like a conversation where it's just like, okay, only 3 million Nigerians are on Twitter. How many people are on Spaces? Even the Spaces that are so popular is never really more than 5,000 people at a time. So you think it's like a small population. But then when Arise News now decide that this is the news that they are going to focus on, because this is the political news that is going on Twitter, and then when Channels News now also like decide to now double down on that, you're now like, okay, this is now forming narratives, right? So that's why we are like talking about maybe a Twitter, the way like narratives are being formed. And if it's being formed on the back of people that collect money, it kind of becomes a bigger problem.
Exactly.
So, yeah.
So just to round up what I was saying, like, like when you wonder, like, because you're already because they come in all shapes and forms, right? There are some people that will come and tell you, they come and they try to use that classist mentality. Oh, I'm richer than you. I'm more successful than you. You shouldn't have a political opinion. The first encounter that I faced was this ageism stuff. And that was last, I think, 2022, 2023. Oh, I'm older than you. We know more than you, blah, blah, blah. So you shouldn't be talking. And then they went into this, oh, we are richer than you. And all of these people, you wonder that this kind of person, since you already have money, you shouldn't be supporting this. But what we realize is that they pay them heavily. They are paid in millions. So you might see someone that you think is well-to-do, and the person is being paid to influence, those opinions. And in talking about this, we should not also forget those that do not necessarily need monetary reward. There are also those who are not expecting money, because if we're calling those out that are getting paid 500k, what about those that the only reason why they are saying Nigerians should suffer is because they want an SSC appointment, or they want some sort of contract allocated to them? So we have to, when you are having, I think, and I want to talk to Nigerians that are listening, please, when people are giving political opinions, please do your own research. Even if it's coming from my mouth or Halisa's mouth or anybody that you trust, please try and do your own research, because a lot of people have their own agenda. A lot of people are getting paid to push out narratives, and these narratives, are very dangerous. When people tell you, we've heard all sorts of stuff on Twitter again, right? Oh, people don't have a right to protest. Oh, people this, people that, a lot of narratives. The most dangerous one that is going on right now is that narrative that, well, if anybody becomes president, it's going to be the same thing. When we had 18 presidential candidates, and I'll tell you, Nigeria is actually meant to suffer. America was not built in one day. And these are the kind of narratives that they are pushing down on our people. So I'll beg Nigerians that as this information has come out that, people actually get sponsored or people actually get paid, you never know. Maybe someone, Alisa, who is sponsoring this podcast, are you sure that you've not collected 1.5?
It's me. It's the ancestors through me. Straight to your ears. so like this whole thing, and I think there's one level of this conversation that Sinosho brought up that I think we are even like not even talking about, by standing on the whole conversations of if it's people are getting paid or people are not getting paid, or this thing. It's should people be paid to have political opinions, sort of like, because it's like should people be promoting political opinions? This is not like a fashion brand, or this is not a clothing brand, and so same things, right? This is not that. It's politics, like. But then payments is not just monetary, like Dorothy has mentioned. Now it could be that somebody is doing it so that they could get like a political appointment, or they are doing it so that it's a way they are also trying to lobby their own business or their own opinion. So for example, in America now, if you're a company that produces cars that are not, or like electric cars, there are certain type of opinions that you hold. If you're a company, if your company produces some certain type of that, or they are still using like maybe petrol, or things like that, you're going to stand on a certain type of idea and you want to promote it. So incentive kind of can come in different ways. So I don't know that I would say because people are being paid like cash, like fresh cash, is like a different level of incentive to people that are trying to promote an idea that would maybe end up in the long run benefiting them financially, right? So it's a level of conversation that you can maybe put nuance to it, or you can decide to draw a line at, okay, if maybe there's much more impact when people are receiving payment on the political sphere. Maybe they might say things that are not really genuine to them or true to them, or they might try to push a narrative that they don't even believe in. Maybe that's the level we could talk about that from. But we have a lot to say if we want to cover 2014. So I don't know any more opinion on this one. Sino, sure.
Yeah, you were asking.
Side
Like,
has been paid
I was trying to
500K
quickly start.
to talk. You've been paid.
I think something that we might have to bear in mind is that we can't commoditize political influencing. We can't afford to. And anybody who is doing it at the moment, right, note them very well. They do not have the intention to continue to stay in the country. Maybe things get bad or good. It's not really the motivation behind what they are doing. Because there are some things that are not supposed to be commoditized. And the people who patronize them as well, they are also part of the problem. Don't forget that these were the problems that we had with the mainstream media initially. Wherein everything to them is about the person who pays the most. If Adolf Hitler should wake up today and pay the most to some of them, they will project Adolf Hitler as the new messiah. And it's a very slippery slope that we have there. You get? So for me, where I stand is simple. I do not think that should be commoditized. Another angle as well that I think is important is that even while they were commoditizing this thing, they were still exploiting one another. Some people are allegedly said to have collected about 4,000 US dollar or 5,000 US dollars. And they came back looking for people to give 150,000. And don't also forget, when that guy was so pushed, there's a particular lady, Seva Ibrahim, whose chat I saw with a particular pedo something, wherein they were exposing Abure, who happens to be the chairman of one of the parties in the last election. And that guy was going to publish things about Abure's arrest. But this particular lady went to that guy and said to him things like, I mean, when you're making moves to deter people from doing something. So the conversation is not like, is the rot so bad? But because they've actually been able to cover them up for so long, a lot of people do not know. See, I have no issues with APC or PDP. I know they are a bunch of criminals. That's how I see them. But if for any reason, right, any group of people are going to come out, apart from those guys, and say, oh, in the name of doing things right, that's why we have come out. And then they've got to do things differently. And let me also tell you, right, which I also think is very important. The way we are doing things now, without recourse to how important what we are handling is. When I say this, I say it in the sense of, if we know how important political choices are, you wouldn't want to influence them for a pot of porridge. Because these are things that largely the 200 people that died in the 200 people, was it 200 or 300 and something people that were kidnapped? They won't die by the grace of God. That were kidnapped in Kaduna State. The people that were killed in Benue State. Another bunch of people were allegedly kidnapped again. Was it yesterday or today? Those news are becoming so common. But the point I'm trying to raise really is the blood of all of these people, if any one of them loses their life, is on you if you get paid for political influencing. People don't know cause and effect, and it's a problem. So within the grand scheme of this conversation is to note that find better business to do. Influencing for businesses is different from influencing for political offices. And if you also, if you are, there was a time when this young man came out, very dark man, and he was going after some people that are not registered with NAFDAC, but they are selling products that consumers consume. If you go the route of projecting such people, you also set the risk of losing the credibility that your brand has as an influencing brand. So likely, if we can think a little bit more deep, we would understand that there are some businesses that are not to be done. But generally, I just see a wave of unraveling going on. A lot of people are getting unraveled, and it interests me because it also helps people to make their decision. But there are now so many news coming one after the other in such a pace that people are having to forget the previous one and move to the other one. So I just hope Nigerians this time would continue, as a matter of fact, listening to this news, but find a way in their mind not to forget. And the only way not to forget is to learn from anything. Just like
But do you know, nowadays there is like a pride in ignorance. Like, it's like, as long as I have a loud voice and I'm confident in whatever I'm delivering, it doesn't matter. It's just a matter of perspective and opinion. Like, there you go.
yeah,
Like,
people use
like,
subjectivity to
anyways,
wriggle out of things. They are like, it's
right.
subjective. It's objective. The life of people at stake is not subjective. You can't kill people. You can't do things that makes people lose their life and say it is subjective. And a life lost is a life too many. And also, something happened when I was saying in the spirit of victory earlier. Omoyele Sowore has now landed in the US. Most of you know how I feel about him. And you also would know that
Yeah.
the quest to have him in a place where he can see his children. I can see Mami K taller than him now. I can also see the Sowore Junior taller than him. So I was even asking one of them, like,
Yeah. I've been
you're
seeing the
taller.
videos.
Yeah, so largely, it's just a case of a father, responsible one, not irresponsible ones who parade themselves as political officers, but whose children are going through a lot of turbulence. A responsible father has gone back to see his family, and I know he will be back again very soon into Nigeria. And I want to actually extend my sincere gratitude.
The question I have, Sinoshaw, is I've been seeing a lot of tears. I thought they like said that this guy was not relevant to Nigeria. So why are they tears? Why are they? Oh, he has gone. Like, and that's a problem for me because, like, you said this guy is not relevant. Then why exactly are
You
people
know,
crying?
that's one of that's one of the reasons you do not understand the Nigerian people. They like their abusers, and it's obvious. They like their abusers, and then they dislike their friends. If anybody is arrested today when Showore was around, he literally just goes ahead, get a lawyer, and get them released. I guess a lot of people don't know. Now it's not available, right? Now only the thing we you see on the internet. Now him go see. Showore was going to court not at times, not because he has case. Because his presence there says a lot. Anybody who perhaps will not have lawyer, they find a way to support people generally. So what I'm saying in essence is what you see them doing is weeping for the opportunity, right? Or let me say the support that they would have otherwise gotten if it was here fully on ground. But they forgot that while he was going through his travails, he has been able to build up a lot of people in his life. And I think the Nigerian state is going to get shaken a little bit now. Because one thing is, the truth will always be said. People who needs to be confronted will always be confronted. So in the grand scheme, it's for us to note that Showore has left. But don't cry, ladies and gentlemen. There are lots of Showore here still with you. The machination that has been helping you in recent time is also not dead. It will continue to help you. What you just need to do is to not put yourself in a place wherein you continue to need this machination forever. Let's have a country where rule of law thrives, and no Ned from anywhere is going to use police to accuse you illegally. No Risco we take a client who's giving a review on their product and be taking them. I mean, somebody committed an offense allegedly in Lagos. You took them to somewhere in Abuja. Who does that?
Yeah, and I
They
think
even said the woman
I
is.
think that's a massive problem, and I want us to like, because that's one of the, I was even going to like, touch on some other things, but I think now that you've brought it up, because it's a problem. And I was speaking earlier today and I actually said this, right? People have been saying, one of the most popular narratives from people who support the establishment, not even the establishment. I think people who support APC is, oh, go and hold your governors accountable. Your governors, and I don't know why they say that, because every time that those of us who like live in Lagos, or those of us who are Lagosians try to hold, or those of us who are in the Southwest hold any of our governors accountable, they have issues with it. So I don't know if the message is meant to be people, maybe states where they did not vote APC and everything. But one thing I said this morning was, there's a guy in Cross River. I don't know if you can remind me of his name. I think it's Jonathan something, or what's the name of that guy in Cross River who, for 4 years, or held his governor accountable. What's his name again? Yeah, Jonathan Abang, right? Yeah. Every time, and we're talking about this, and this is very important, and it also relates to this Erisco stuff, and this is a conversation that we must have, because I find it despicable that people, majority of Nigerians live in poverty. I think the CBN chairman, if that's what he is, or Minister of Finance, one of those things, Kadoso or whatever, he actually said 98% of Nigerians don't have above 500K in their accounts. 98%. And I find it despicable that someone allegedly commits a crime, right? Because I don't think any court would convict somebody for saying, don't buy this product. I don't think so, right? But someone allegedly commits a crime in Lagos, in Abuja, in Benue, not even in Abuja, because in Benue, in other states, and they are shipped off to Abuja. And I think that's a problem. So Jonathan Abang, who held his governor accountable, every time that he publishes something that the governor picks offense with, they will ship him off to Abuja, arrest him and take him to Abuja and make sure that they waste his time. After some time, they'll let him go, and all of those nonsense, right? And this Erisco lady is also a victim of that system. I think it's despicable that Nigerians that don't even have, how much it costs for you to get a flight for one person to go to Abuja, right? You know how much, even via road, in a country where majority of people don't even have above 500K in their account, a country where people are massively poor, that you pick them up just because they are poor, you take them to Abuja and you start to, bully them, and it also speaks to the Nigerian police force and how most times they are used. I was thinking about something. I was talking with some people today, and it was not a very, a very smooth conversation. But I was just saying, these guys, you guys that defend this system, that defend this establishment, all it's going to take to crumble your life is for one billionaire in Nigeria to pick offense against you, right? I'm not even talking about politics. Now I'm talking about a billionaire, a rich person, just has to pick offense against you, and you are done. You are done. So this is a problem. The Erisco lady that gave a review about a particular product and said, I think maybe sugar was mixed with tomatoes or whatever, and the billionaire guy, picked offense and whatsoever. I think, he managed that situation wrongly, if you ask me. The beauty of life is that people should be able to give reviews about your service, and whatsoever. And the way you respond as a company, it also matters, right? There are a lot of companies across the world that people have commented about phones, brand new phones, after spending billions in dollars of launching those products and whatsoever it is, right? People give reviews that, hey, this phone is trash. And guess what? Some of those companies recall those products, right? So there are so many things that could have been done. And I see them struggle with PR, trying to get people to manage their reputation and say, oh, no, we support women. They even did an International Women's Day. This is the thing that drives me, like the I don't even know what to even say, but everything is just upside down in Nigeria. A man who is oppressing a woman is saying he supports women, happy International Women's Day and everything. So it is crazy. Nobody even knows what party that lady supports. Nobody even knows what her political views are. So when some of us are speaking to the injustice in Nigeria, when some of us are speaking to the problems in the system that need to be fixed and addressed, right? I think that a lot of people need to pay attention. It's the same thing. Like what we always say, injustice to one is injustice to all. And there's a popular quote, I know you guys can remember it, that says, "Oh, I came for the blah blah blah," or you felt it wasn't you and you kept quiet. Like, imagine a Showore, when a Showore was arrested and taken to Abuja. And I'm sure he's not the first person. There have been other people that have said, "No, you can't try take this guy from this place to this place and put him in a place where he has never been before." And love will tell you, "Shut up. No, he did something wrong." And you are speaking for other people who have been abused by the system too. And people will tell you, "No, shut up." And it now gets to this woman's turn and everybody's upset. And some people are not still speaking up because they feel like, "Oh, someone has said something about me online. I want this woman to be used as an example." And it's going to get to that point where it's going to come to you. And when it's going to come to you, it's going to be too late. And maybe your case will not even have popularity like this. Your case may not even have popularity, and there may be nobody, to speak up for you. So one thing I must say again is that why is it that if lawyers are not taking your case, senior lawyers are not taking your case pro bono, and this is the problem that we have in this country, you're not going to stand anywhere. I think F. Young is the lawyer working on this girl's case and everything, but it's mostly pro bono. So there is a fundamental problem with our system that needs to be addressed. But yeah, we can go into so many other things that have happened this year. And I think I was going to say that we should also talk about our people who are dying in Nigeria. We should also talk about the food prices, because it's the story so far. I saw a video where a lady was saying that if she sees Tinubu, she will beat him up, so, and that's a market woman. So are we not, remember when I was speaking before and I told you that the class that we are always attacking, that the problem of Nigeria, or, these poor people, blah, blah, blah. They're the ones that are making statements and are telling you that if they see your president, most likely they'll beat him up, right? So, I think we should talk about the people who are being kidnapped, all of these kidnap cases, 500 people being killed. There's currently a trending one. Today is, I think the 9th, or we're in March right now. Today's the 9th of March, right? And we have a case where another 200 people, if I'm correct, have just been kidnapped from a Nigerian school. So this is like, the whole bring back our girls over again. And not even that, because people have always been kidnapped from schools. Like even after the first bring back our girls of 2012 or so, So that's a problem. And I think we need to address that. So what do you guys think about, starting from this kidnapping across the country? Because it's almost making me inhumane. I see it every day. Like I see it. I don't even know what to even say anymore. About the kidnapping and the killings that are going on across the country.
Yeah. I mean, good point there. And I think this making you inhumane, like it's really something, because I feel like, it's just, you get kind of like your skin kind of gets thickened to these things. I see that people don't even engage in it. Even today, I wanted to use a hashtag, or I wanted to even comment on posts that one of our very good friend who was on this podcast did several posts, and I just did not know what to do. Before I was even up till now, I still am, but like this phase is just like, I'm not even into virtue signaling or anything. I'm not trying to do hashtag bring back our girls, because I'm just like, were the girls ever brought back, And then we had the Fugus girls that were kidnapped from one university. And it's a lot of northern universities, actually. And that's why I also think that we could connect it to the smuggling or the porosity of our borders. Because I've made this point and I've been screaming as loud as I can that I think that there's some sort of human trafficking activity going on. What is being smuggled in and out of Nigeria? I've asked this question. I need people to answer. I was like, up until now, there was like some figures showing that it's about 1,600. That's before this current kidnapping, or, during, I think even before the Fugus one. So if you add that and you add what we have now, and this is just statistics that's on, I'm sure that, who knows, people just disappear. Someone will just be like, okay, I've never seen this person before. So people just disappear in this country. Nobody cares, The only time people will care is if you have multi-billion dollars, and that's why when everybody will want to care about you being a human being, because it seems like those are the people that are human beings. But if you are just one poor person, you don't even have a bank account anywhere, you're not really human to anybody. This is what our society has turned to. And this is not even me saying this to say that, oh, Nigerians, be good people, because it's like, what? what, like, what's a good person and what's a bad person? It's just the system that we have now that really does not care about human beings, you know. So it means just this 2014 to 2024, more than 500 people have just been kidnapped. So I'm trying to like also like figure it out in my head. What is really going on? What kind of human trafficking activity is going on? Because that's the only theory I have right now concerning that. Because I don't hear any ransom. You know, the last time they kidnapped people, we hear that they were calling them to say bring 600 million. If you don't bring it after how many days, it will increase to whatever million. And people were crowdfunding for it. You know, when it comes to crowdfunding, every Nigerian wants to crowdfund. And this the matter is long. Let me just put it like that. But that being said, I'm trying to say that this issue of kidnapping kind of feels like it's different from the normal type of kidnapping of one or two people, you know, or like that one that someone will kidnap and you say, okay, you pay ransom and the person will be brought back.
So
and
Halisa,
you were
what's
even
your
saying like recently they come to your house and like kidnap.
what's your opinion about people paying ransoms? What's your opinion about people paying ransoms for kidnapped victims or crowdfunding? Because that was a major conversation, and it was a very sensitive conversation too. So what's basically your opinion about that?
It's very it's very sensitive because me from the outside as a person if my family is kidnapped, I probably would just not be in the right state of mind to be thinking that, okay, I don't want to be the one that's enabling kidnappers, because this is some sort of an enabling system. Now we have an industry of, you know, we have an actual industry running for kidnappers now in Nigeria, right? So I don't want to say, okay, maybe I'm not going to be someone that's enabling this system when my own family is being kidnapped. So I don't know. It would be it would be a dicey one. So I think there are two audiences for this. But if I'm just a third party sitting outside, I might look at it as, oh, you guys are enabling this. But I don't think that paying ransom or not paying ransom in that moment changes anything really. Because you know, it doesn't, for me, it doesn't really do anything. It has to be when there's like a collective effort to say, okay, we are not going to do this anymore. But that's also kind of different in this our system. Still looks like it's not even going to work. So my opinion about paying ransom or not paying ransom is not really well thought through yet. Like, I don't have a solid stance on it. Like, should people pay ransom or not? I think that me paying ransom or not paying ransom is really not what would enable these people or not enable, like, because I think we are dealing with a different type of criminality. There's the one where it's like young people, I mean, like just normal people, they are like, okay, let me get 10 million here and go out sharply. But we are dealing with a set of people that kill. So the last case, there's this lady, I forgot her name now. I think they are now like proper psychopaths in our system now. Like, we are not dealing with we're dealing with different types of human beings. This Nigerian system has created not just thugs. There are psychopaths, there are sociopaths, there are different types of individuals. So I do not have a well thought out opinion about this. So I'm going round and round, but I don't think me paying or not paying really deters anything. I don't know that our system right now to just be like, okay, let's all stop paying kidnappers money and then kidnapping is going to stop. Because like I said, now these girls that were kidnapped, almost 300 people, are they demanding for ransom? Are they? They are not. We don't know anything. Like, we literally do not know anything. So yeah, I mean, you might have your own opinion,
Well,
if you want us to like stay on the issue a bit more.
For me, I'll
think?
just stand where you stand, and that's why I said it was a very sensitive issue, because you're not going to be inhumane and say that, you know, people should not give in to the fact that the Nigerian police, with all due respect, are mostly unreliable, you know, and that because they are the only structure that's available for this kind of things. In the event that something like that happens to me, or, you know, where you need police, you will still need police, right, to take laws into your own hands. But from what we've seen historically, Nigerian police, I don't think there's any Nigerian that has 100% confidence, or even even 50, except they want to be politically correct, or, you know, they are trying to protect a certain political narrative or whatsoever. But a lot of people don't have confidence in the Nigerian. So yeah.
And yeah, I think everybody should not have confidence, It's not, like I said, it's not a matter of what I wish and what I hope. It's not like I hope that the police will be good, and then facts and figures state that there's no time that they can be reliable. So I think it would be kind of like a bit of like foolishness to just say they are reliable, and to hope that they'll be reliable. So they are not reliable. That's just what it is. And for me, it's also on this issue of crowdfunding. I think it's a larger problem too, where it's like in Nigeria, everything can be, people think that we can like go fund me our way out of everything. I think that, of course, the matter of like charity and everything, I'm not really like, okay, private individuals can do what private individuals will do. But if the governors of states are coming out to also ask for crowdfunding, our governors, all of these people that are supposed to be able to change things, they act so powerless. And that's the one that's so infuriating, because it's like, and it's just the narrative aftermath. It's like everybody is like good with this crowdfunding. Like, okay, yeah, you are now a nice person because you are crowdfunding, or like you're participating in this when you are like a terrible individual. You support like the most terrible government, and then you are crowdfunding for somebody. And now I'm gonna like clap for you that you are crowdfunding. No, it's like people escape responsibilities too much. So that I think that's the bigger
this, right?
problem,
I was going to hammer on this, right? Because on this topic of crowdfunding, philanthropy, and everything, it's a very important one that we need to talk about. And I'm going to say this, right? And there are two things that are involved, right? There are people who support terrible governments and they want to come and play that they're the nice people. Again, I have personal issues with diaspora Nigerians. A whole lot of them, because you support.
It's very valid.
Oh my God. You support bad governments and you now come to Nigeria and you say you're doing giveaway, right? You think, and I think Nigerians in particular, we like philanthropy. I don't know why. We like givers, anyone that is giving. It doesn't matter who is giving, and it doesn't matter what they do for a living. It doesn't matter. As far as that person is, whether it's a criminal, a politician, that has stolen money, a Yahoo boy, anyone, as far as the person is willing to give, even if it's the devil.
See, I got an update recently. I didn't know who was retweeting that thing, and then I saw it. And then I went to check. It was one of the guys that was recently arrested for doing FX fraud in Nigeria that was doing giveaway. And it had gathered about 5 million people. He said, oh, if you want any money, drop your account under here. And people are literally dropping their account. And I said, is this not the person that was duping people just some 1.5 years ago? But seriously, poverty can do the head of a lot of people in. And I think it's a problem.
It's a cancer.
It's a problem.
It's a cancer. Like it's not even funny because do you know the issue, the problem here is that the problem here is that if you still ask these people, they are not really they are not mad at the defense minister, they are not mad at our defense structure, they still think that we are still okay. So it's like when you now come out and you're now like so it's weird, because if you're like actively against this system and you're like, yeah, of course, this is just some small thing I need to do at the side, maybe for my own humanity or for my own morality or something like that, then we get it. But it doesn't seem like that, because recently we're having a very interesting conversation about I wasn't part of the conversation, but I listened into it. They were having a conversation about ethics and morality, and they're like pity also. It's like, do you really pity people when you can't even be in their shoes? And then there was also a conversation about like empathy. When you're empathetic, then you should like be able to be actionable with it. It's not like you say, oh, I feel sad about these people, but it's like your actions, nothing is going to show it. You donate 100K maybe to whatever crowd fund there is, and you do not really feel bad. You do not feel any need to change the system. You are still kind of very, very okay. You still think our Nigerian soldiers are probably the best in the world. You think like, okay, the presidency or the government needs time. You do not really feel a need to you just don't feel it. So it's like you're not even are you pitying these people? Some of these people, whatever drives them is quite something that I'm quite. I mean, it's something that you can be curious about. You know, some people say it's like, oh, you just want to be the Oga or the one-eyed man amongst blind people.
Many.
I don't know why you be aspiring for that. That's crazy.
Do. I don't know if it's a trick, but I've just observed that it works, right? So say you supported maybe APC or or so, right? You now come out and you make a tweet and you say, "Oh, I'm in need of money, or my business is crumbling, blah 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 blah." Then people on the other side, obedience, will not start attacking you. They'll go and dig up your tweets where you abuse Peter Obi, or where where you said something about Tinubu being the best or something, and then out of I don't know if it's out of shame or out of solidarity amongst APC members, they'll not raise those funds for you. So it always works. I've seen it work like 2 or 3 times. So if you're an APC member, that's a trick that I'm giving you. You can go on, go online and say something is not working for you, your APC people will crowdfund for you. But on a more serious note, I think giving is fantastic. I think there's beauty in giving. I think giving people is wonderful. Helping your society, helping the needy is wonderful. But we should take note, and I'm willing to go over that with anyone. Let's look back at history. Philanthropy has never built any nation. It's the reason why then Bill Gates. I know they have other reasons, another agenda why they do it. Some do it for tax cuts. Some do it for when the conspiracy theorists enter the room now, they were able to tell you 1 million reasons why they do it, right? But I'm saying people have in Nigeria, other African countries have constantly been shown on international television. We've received donations over and over, several NGOs, empowerment. It will shock you. Let me give you one tip. There's this place in Lagos at Sinosho. I think is it called what's that place, Makoko or something, that has been the destination of several NGOs and foundations and giveaways. But that place is still like that. It's still the way it is right now. It's still a slum in Lagos. Philanthropy has never built anywhere. It has never built any nation.
But why is it that Nigerians are so appreciative of it?
I don't know.
Not like the people that
like
are
givers.
the people that it's not even about. No, the thing is, me too. To be honest with you, I probably would do, even if it's like just as a tool. But honestly, I am worried about how people mount on it and double down on the thank you. Like if, for example, someone donates 1 million to something, keep it to you can share it. It's okay. We are in a world where people share everything now. But like Nigerians will make sure that person trends. They would like everybody would like stay on that person's case and like, this is a very good man. This is because it's like that's why it's like I feel like these people are kind of turning me into a monster.
They're in a country whereby
because now I'm like questioning the concept of good and evil.
Welfare is not popular in Nigeria. Welfare is not popular. So since I was born, I don't know if you've received welfare.
No. It's supposed to be a system. Listen, it's like welfare is supposed to be a system. It's not an impulse. That's the thing. It's not okay. Today I woke up on the right side of my bed, and I woke up on the right side of my bed, and I want to be a good man. A good woman.
Sorry.
I saw it's good these days. I'm like,
I just butt in and tell you this. I'll ask you this. What exactly do we do in Nigeria without being impulsive? What exactly don't we do with impulse in Nigeria? Let me put it that way. Our laws, they exist. People don't know. Do you know there's a law banning the exportation of rice, yam, beans, and their derivative from this country? Do you know there's an existing law for that?
Oh, wow.
Do you know that that law was existing when Buhari said they were trying to build the reserve and they were exporting yam? They did not repeal that law, and yet the federal government was supporting the exportation of yam. So is that a government that is being run based on an institutionalized way of running a government? Or Obasanjo that wanted to emerge in 1999 and it was the military echelon choosing him as opposed to the Nigerian people choosing him? Or Yaradua that emerged in office and said the system that brought him in is inexistent. There is nothing to show historically that we have done things paying the proper reference to institutions in Nigeria, because the institutions in the recent does not exist. So when you now say welfare is not institutionalized, it is not institutionalized because they do not want everybody to have access to it. They want people in their group alone to have access to them. That's why today somebody from APC will say, "Oh, I can't pay my child's school fee." I don't know why that man even put his daughter's name on the timeline. It's crazy. And then these people came for the LP guys came for him and said, "Oh, you supported this bad government. Oh, da 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 da. Your child does not deserve to get that." They have said a lot of things. At the end of the day, the APC people will get that for their own. Let obedience also come around and say the same thing. Why is it like we are not asking exactly? This government gets paid taxes. They are the ones that have the first hand access to our national resources, let's say mineral resources, human resources, or what have you. What are they doing with the proceeds therefrom? Why is there not an institutionalized way of doing even spending the money when they no budget? Some people they spend am for this country. You no get me. The thing when they no budget, somebody they spend am. Adeleke Ademola in Osun State said something, and me and Dr. Dab were laughing about it because we had this chat going. He said a professor just called him and he just for something, a project on their campus, and he dipped hand into the Osun State coffer and he gave the professors he gave the school the money to do the project. Now my conversation is, was that idea, was that particular expense line captured in the budget for that year? If it's not captured, it's extra budgetary spending. It's at best, let me say, at least you get a case of misappropriation if you don't get embezzlement. So we need to have a country first before we start talking about not doing things on impulse. Because when you have a country, you build institutions to support the country. And that's why everything we do, we tend to eventually end up in a place where we build a pop star out of everything. Hence as protest. Oh, you will hear the pop stars now. They said they are supporting obedience. We didn't even know they were paying them. This movement, 1993, oh, Soyinka, Tinubu, were the poster boy. The people that actually fought on the street, the Nigerian students that fought on the street, none of them is being reckoned with today. Why? Because nothing is institutionalized. Anything just bet pop star. If you are in a political office, you become an emperor because you pay people welfare directly as opposed to sharing it amongst the whole of the populace who needs it. So we do everything with
They'll
impulse.
say you're a good man, and then everybody will share, everybody will like and share. Oh, such a very good man.
Wallahi.
This kind of person's blessing. I say these people are turning me into something that I don't even get, because it's like, yeah, like me, I feel I'm empathetic towards the situation and everything, but it's like, yo, why?
It's not
Now, if you
blessing,
want
it's
to be
grace.
very, very famous, just go. Exactly. Go get a loan of 5 million and start going on the streets and start doing 50k this thing giveaway. And you see that investment big.
But you know what?
Big. And before you know, because everybody promotes it with their life, like it's like, I think that, and it's also this thing, right? It's also what we've been talking about. Like, people don't want to do any, like, not like people don't want to, people do not have any, maybe they don't want to. Let me just put it at that at this point. So everybody is just looking for the thing they think they can contribute to the nation in itself is to praise someone else that they think has done good.
But
So
you know what?
that's
I'm
their
not-
own
I'm not
level
even
of
going to lie
contribution to
here. I'm not even
Nigeria.
going to lie here. I love those kind of contents, where people, because let's be honest, like, yeah.
It's good. It's wholesome,
because
of course. It's wholesome.
our people
There's
are
wholesomeness.
suffering.
You
You don't want to.
put classic music behind. Exactly. That's why I'm not even one to be like I'm against charity. Because see, at this very point, I'm not even one to be like I'm against somebody giving money. I can't. It's like there's so much sufferness that you say you cannot. You say I can't. But like what I'm saying is that the glamorization of it's so glamorized, and it's made to be such a thing that people want to now aspire to doing instead of actually fighting to. If you want to create a welfare state, since we love welfare like that, let's create a welfare state. Right now we're not operating a welfare state. Nobody should be depending on, one day there's someone who has a bit more than them to wake up on the right side of their beds, or who should be the person who prayed too much during. So I don't know.
Alisa, I think because I'm kind of like biased with this, you might probably see me doing those kind of contents in future. I think a lot of our people, and I think those contents also help to expose. I understand what you're saying, right? I understand what you're saying. But those contents also help to expose some of the narratives that Nigeria. Because man, when you see what 5K means to the average Nigerian. We are not the average Nigerians. We are
I
not. When you
agree.
see what 5,000 naira.
No, we are. What
Oh,
are you saying? Ife Emeka, shout out to
if every
you.
guy is if
Yeah,
every guy is in rich Nigeria,
yeah.
yeah, but like when you see what 50,
No, but what I'm saying is
yeah,
that's why I said I cannot outrightly, because probably I would also participate like in charity when it gets there. But it's just like it's not a thing where I want to like, it's not you you can how do I put it? This is not out of your depth, Dorothy. You have already gone out to sensitize people. You speak to people about politics. You try to change and convince people. So this is not out of your depth, trying to like reach out to people, like you do grassroots stuff, like proper, like you talk to people. So it's not going to be like
yeah. I think
random.
what could be done, right, is that 'cause for me personally, even if I'm going to help people, and I think I've not done it. I said I was going to start doing it after the election, right? And I'm not saying I am going to bully and intimidate people that you must, because I like, again, we've addressed this thing several times. The fact that you are now on the side which you think is right doesn't mean that a couple of years ago you were not, on that side that was wrong, right? So we need to be patient with people, and only hopeful that when occurrences happen in Nigeria, we can not use it. And I'm not saying when I mean any sort of occurrence, right? We could use it to also educate people, because people have to learn from their mistakes. So what I'm trying to say is, as much as, even though we're doing philanthropy and we're giving out to people, right? We must, me personally, what I think I would do is to let them know that, you see, this money I'm giving to you, I don't have to give this money to you in terms of if things were better, right? If in terms of, if okay, what do people really ask for money for? Food. Can we educate them that based on the kind of soil we have, and we're not supposed to be begging for food? Is it education? People are in school. So we can also use that opportunity. And I'm not saying that we must force it down their throat, to also enlighten people and tell them that, yeah, I'm giving you money, but basically these are things that government is supposed to take care of, and these are the ways that if you made better voting decisions, you will not be in this particular situation. I mean, like, so I think that those are things that we can actually do over time. Yeah, but this issue of philanthropy, we can go on and on. But before, I'd like us to also touch on one thing. And I think we might most likely need a second episode or a third episode, because there are a lot of things that we've not talked about that's happened, from our last podcast up until now. But one thing I'd like us to touch on, if you guys don't mind, is this issue of Sunday Igboho returning back to Nigeria. I know you guys might not want to talk about it, but yeah, it's a very relevant issue, because we're not going to deny that we have these issues on underlying issues where people think they want to leave the country or whatever it is that they are. I don't know, right? But he's been back to Nigeria, and whether we like it or not, he has his followers, he has his supporters, and they are Nigerians. We have people who are agitating for different things in the country, Biafra nation, Yoruba nation. We cannot continue to put this thing under the rug like it doesn't exist. It exists, and it's a problem in our society, right? So, not I'm saying that it's a problem that people want to succeed, but it's a problem that is not being addressed, and it's just being thrown by the side. So, can we talk about it briefly? And I think, yeah, that's one of the things that I want us to talk about.
Sinisha, do you want to talk about that one? I think I'll reserve my come back to it. Let's come back to it, I think. But yeah, go ahead. Exactly.
I guess it, it's, it's something that I think it's something that we will have to dedicate a time to, a whole episode to. And why I'm saying that is because we really need to expose the hypocrisy, or hypocrisy, depending on who is talking, of some of our brothers and sisters in Nigeria. The fight necessarily, right, is usually, to me, from what I can see so far, tainted in such a way that what people are looking for is not a good Nigeria, but for their own part of the divide to control the oppressive system. So when people say Yoruba nation, Biafra, IPOB, Middle Belt nation, have you? The point I still maintain is, what exactly is the end goal? But I bet we might have a whole episode to discuss it, and of course, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's conversation as well. will also be added so that we can make it a more.
Yeah, and I think we'll do that. We'll do that with their representatives too, so that we can have a robust podcast. I was going to say space. I'm so used to Twitter, but anyways, yeah. So yeah,
That sums it up for me, really.
Yeah, I think that we've gone like even maybe like yeah we've said a lot of things. Even though I think we still have a lot to say and cover regarding what has been going on. Nigeria is Nigeria. Things happen, so a lot of things happen, but I think that we need to come to a point where politics is not just about entertainment. I think that we like cruise too much, even though this is not me saying, it's not an advocacy for no more cruise, but I think they should remove emojis from our phones. Anyone who's in Nigeria should not have Nigerian should not have emoticon, emojis or anything, because something could happen. Everybody's like ha 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 ha. But what I'm trying to say is that there's just a lot of serious things that are happening, and I think that the sense of urgency is kind of lacking. So that's just maybe what I'm trying to say. But yeah, I think I need to stand on this and double down
and
on
you've
it.
been advocating, Alisa, you've been advocating for something which you've been saying that there should be no enjoyment or no celebration for politicians. What exactly? I've been seeing your post on social media where politicians in Nigeria, elected public office holders, should not be allowed to.
They always wear their clothes are so fine. They are always on flick, on smiles, on laughs. It's like, what's funny, So yeah, definitely.
That song, that Kiss Daniel song. They need to ban them from using that song. Have you noticed that the establishment politicians in Nigeria love that song? We need to understand the psychology behind that Kiss Daniel song, that Buga song. They love that song, and maybe there's something. Yeah,
I think they said those should I say elderly people like the song. So I don't know if it's just that, or it's just like politicians feel like, I think it's like PG-13 or something, so they can use it. I don't know. There might be something about it.
Or do you think it's because it gives them a chance? They like that grandiose style. So when you say lo, then you come up and say Buga.
Then they should definitely like Portable, then like Zazu. The way he does his thing. They should pay him. That time he did campaign stuff for them, and he was saying that they ripped him or something. Don't rip Portable. I think this is a great way to end. I'm going to listen to Portable's song Tony Montana. Yes.
While you are listening to Tony Montana, right, you might also want to listen to Morocco by Bull. It's one of the songs that I cruise to in my private time.
Since you guys are suggesting songs, I suggest you listen to I Sorry You by Femi Kuti. That is what defines the Nigerian state perfectly.
Boom.
All right, guys.
All right.
Yeah.
Nice. Subscribe to all of our channels and platforms, and we'll see you or you hear from us next time. Thanks for listening.
You're listening to the Out of the Box podcast with Timmy, Halisa, and Sinosure.